and basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast.
NBA, some college, a little bit of everything.
You know, what can I say? But it wasn't going to happen here with him. I was okay with it because it wasn't about talent.
Welcome to the Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay along for the ride. Zoom and Pod. Jeff is on the DL today. He is out sick. And we are sponsored by the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network's FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Okay, Bob, I was texting with you last night, and I am an unfair fan. I get it. I'm not going to apologize, but I watched the first half of that Celtics game last night. And oh my God, it drove me crazy. But the Celtics, I'm going to focus on the positive in the win over the Sixers.
Yeah.
Without the three-point shot, they took care of business. That's a victory.
Oh, that's important. It's one of the things. It's one of our mutual checkpoints we want to. If we think about the future and the games that we're looking forward to in the spring, you want to know that they can do that. And now they did it against a weakened opponent who was missing its significant deterrent in the middle, and they took advantage of that. With the exemplary 2-point shooting and stuff in the paint, that a huge advantage in the paint. Yeah, it's good. All right, so I'm looking right. That's what I take away from that one. I worry as soon as I wasn't looking forward to the game in terms of how well they were going to play because Embiid is out, and and they showed us an attitude problem against the Lakers, and I didn't think it was going to be a great game, and it wasn't. But they got the job done. That's all we can say.
Well, yeah, and it seems that they're adjusting. They're learning to adjust because, as you talked about it, Nick Nurse was like throwing the kitchen sink at him. When you were listening to the game, it was. He goes, I can't remember. I think Grant Hill said he's got 5 guards out there. I mean, so these guys aren't. There's a learning curve for the Celtics with that.
Well, it's, speaking of which, the Grant Hill and announcing, we have a funny thing going on here in our home in that we are getting on TNT. We're getting Spanish announcer.
Really?
Yes, and so I watched the game without any informative commentary last night. So I don't know, and that's not the first time that's happened. And we've had a problem in the past with Nesson and during baseball season with Spanish. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's neither here nor there in terms of what we were talking about, which is the Boston Celtics. It was a night. It was a day at the office. It was a night at the office.
Exactly what it was.
It was a night at the office for this team, and their inexorable march to 60 wins, and that's what it was. But we are looking for things. I'm still looking for Tillman. I want to see Tillman, how and if he will fit into the big picture. That's one thing I'm keeping an eye on.
But before we leave that Celtic game, I do want to point out, 34 free throws. So when you go to the basket,
well, of course,
you go to the foul line.
Yeah, no, that was very good.
That's like I'm focused. That's to me, because I really, Bob, I worry about them choking, and I say the word choking because these guys could win it all in a series where the 3 goes dry and they're not able to convert. And I love seeing this. I mean, they're going to the basket, they're getting fouled, they're going to the line. Phenomenal.
Against a team that was short.
But
short.
I mean, training wheels.
Yeah, so we need to see that. We'll wait till we get one of those games where the 3s aren't falling against a team that has some inside deterrent, and we'll see how they play.
Okay. Moving on from the Celts, the Cleveland Cavaliers. 12-3. Strauss had that 59-foot game winner. I did not have Cleveland on my radar at the beginning of the season.
No, but I had a conversation in the last couple of weeks with Mr. Hubie Brown, and he was touting Cleveland to me, and as a team that could be, the ultimate threat in the East to the Celtics. And if I'm not mistaken, he certainly was touting them. Maybe I put words in his mouth with that second statement. But anyway, yeah, they got a wonderful backcourt, and they've got under the radar good big men in Mobley and Allen, and they've got I got a guy that can hit from 59 feet too. So
right. So
no,
I mean,
we knew about Strauss from his Miami days. Don't worry, we got a load of Strauss, so we know what he's capable of in Boston. And yeah, they're good, and clearly JB Bickerstaff is a good coach. And once again, I was very fond of his father, Bernie,
right.
and knew him way back. But no, good, and this is good. And Cleveland deserves it good, because of the romantic fan relationship with LeBron and having him and not having him and having him and not having him, and they deserve something good. But yes, they're a threat. I mean, they're going to be nobody. As I love to say, nobody's going to go into the playoffs and say, "Oh, goody, we're playing the Cavaliers." Oh no, you're going to be ready. Get ready for fasten your seatbelt when you play the Cavaliers.
Do you think would you put them on the threat level of Philly with a healthy center?
If they keep you, I don't see why not.
Me too. I agree. That's my point.
I don't think this is a gimmicky or freaky surge. I think this is who they are right now, and they're gaining a unit confidence with this naturally,
right?
And so absolutely, I think that they've entered into if we want, however you slot Philly, after Milwaukee, and we know they're having their own issues, and no, they're serious. You take them, I'm taking them seriously. I am.
Yeah, that's why, because Milwaukee's wonky. They've changed coaches. They've had chemistry issues. They're that team that has all the talent, but do they have the right chemistry? And if they don't win the title, they will take a lot of heat, as they should, because they have two potential, well, in my opinion, not even potential, two Hall of Fame players on their roster. So you put Cleveland into the mix, and Cleveland, I don't know how it pans out, but Cleveland can take out Philly in a series, and if things aren't going right with Milwaukee, who knows? So I just think it changes the dynamic a little bit. It's too bad the Knicks are hurt, because I thought that could round out a top five.
As we're speaking of Cleveland, I'm reminded of a singular incident that I saw back in 1976 when I covered the series that the Cavaliers played against the Bullets. Then for you Gen Z people, Washington Wizards were once known as the Washington Bullets. Okay, now and after they won the seventh game on a game-winning basket by Dick Snyder, people are able to mount the backboard, the superstructure, and they tore the basket down a la a football goalpost. Never seen that before or since. That was a great crowd. I used to say in those days, that was as continually loud a crowd noise as I ever remember in the NBA of the 20th century, and it was really something. But I just hadn't thought about the basket being torn down in a long time until we started talking about the Cavaliers again. That was on the old Richfield Coliseum. And
let me see if I have it right. It's Jim Jones, Nate Thurman.
Absolutely. Campy Russell.
Campy Russell. I can't
Dick
remember.
Snyder. Forgetting somebody good. Bobby Bingo Smith was an early star in that team.
I can't remember who the coach was.
It was some guy named Fitch.
Bill Fitch. My God, how could I forget that? That's right.
It was Bill Fitch, and that's who we played. And for the Eastern Conference Finals was the Cavaliers, and it was a tough 6 games. And yeah.
I can't now. I should have known that. I mean, by the way, while we're on the topic of tearing down the backboard, what's your feeling on storming the court? Because that's been a big controversy here with Kentucky and a player.
Oh, and of course it is. It's the number one topic now in college, and in fact, in college basketball right now is the court storming. I keep saying, well, how do you prevent it without massive security? Now, I mean, I don't know what kind of PA warning would get the attention of people to thwart them, to get them not to do it. I don't know, but something has to be done. We can't. That was intolerable, absolutely intolerable. What happened the other night in Winston Salem, and so I no, it's topic A in college sports. It's interesting that the ACC, unlike other conferences, had no policy whatsoever. Other conferences have got fining teams. For example, the SEC, LSU just got $100,000 fine, and as far as I know, but something's got to be done. Yeah, I mean it's bad, and it's terrible.
What's unfortunate is at one point in time, as we know, it was about championships, or it was the playoffs, or it was a unique game. It was, the odds were pretty even for these two teams. It wasn't that big of an upset, right? It wasn't a championship like Game 7, you win at the Garden, or Game 6, the Garherd game or whatever. People storm the floor. But now they're doing it for anything.
Dwight Clay hits a jump shot for Notre Dame to end UCLA's 88-game streak. Yeah, maybe you come on the floor.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's what you're saying. And I agree. And it's just, I mean, Duke isn't even Duke this year. I mean, they're not a vintage Duke team at all. And it's a big deal, They're a second.
Did I say Kentucky? I mean, thank you.
They're a top 20 team. Yeah. That's all they are.
Right.
And nothing special. I mean, is Wake Forest that victory starved? But it was bad. But I don't have an answer, and I don't know.
I mean, you're right, because I love to tell the story when the Red Sox won the World Series in St. Louis, and I know you were there when in 04. The security people said there's going to be a 10-minute cool down, and then you can come on the field for the media. Well, yeah, that wasn't happening. We were all on the media immediately. We were all on the floor on the field immediately talking to players. You would literally have to have 100 members surrounding the court.
Yeah,
armed. That's the only way to do it, because now the problem is, kids are getting attention. They want the attention. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. It's become about them.
Oh, it's a TikTok generation.
Yeah, it's the streaking,
right? Yeah. So there's that, but meanwhile, those 100 people had better be armed. This is what.
Right. Oh yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, this is terrible, because now we're entering into hooligan talk. We're entering into premiership talk. We're entering into Celtics versus Rangers, when they have to separate the fans. You talk. This is ridiculous that we even have to have this discussion, but unfortunately we do.
Yeah.
And so
safety of the players. That's too bad. Get your buckets with your first bet at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams, quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/Boston and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. I'm looking at the Western Conference standings right now, and man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
As we speak, as we're recording this, folks, we're still looking at the Timberwolves, who are not going away. Then OKC, then the Nuggets, then the Clippers with 37 wins, then the Suns, then Bob's Kings, then Dallas, who's been playing very well at 33 and 24, and then the old men, the Lakers and Golden State, 9 and 10 with the playing game. What have you made? I mean, it's obviously great for basketball. What do you make of it?
It seems we're always this team and that team surfaces for discussion. The team that I have in my mind right now that, well, boy, maybe they are going to be a problem in the end, and that's Phoenix. They got the big three, and Grayson Allen is having quietly, he's a good year. Now we all think ill of him, and you'll never forgive him for what he did in college, never, because he's never sought any forgiveness anyway that I know. But he can play, he can shoot, and he can play, and they're playing better. And if they're healthy, They're not deep, we know that, but they could cause some problems. I'll ask you to yes or no, should we even bother to discuss Golden State? Yes or no?
I say no.
Okay. Yeah, I keep leaning no, and yet Klay Thompson is slowly, he's been coming off the bench and making, scoring some points lately. And Kuminga is growing into something, and I'm going to say I don't want to bury him, but but I don't think anybody's going to say goody we're playing the
Well,
Warriors.
no, I mean, of
A
course
lot of
not.
teams.
But I mean, let's face it, Bob, they're not deep. When I look at all these teams now
No, they're
ahead of
not.
Golden State, I mean, the problem with the Lakers and Golden State, they don't have any depth.
No.
But all these other teams have depth to me, from what I see.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of intriguing stuff. I always had my eye last year on Sacramento, and Dallas is coming up on the rail now when we're not looking. And of course, we know Doncic is ridiculously good, and
Right.
Irving had a quiet 30 last night.
Yeah, I mean, if he's
and he's been
engaged,
doing
it
that.
changes the game.
He's been doing that. They of course they got snookered by the 59-foot shot, but there's a lot of it's going to be crazy just to get in. First of that, I mean, the play-in it would be massive, and just to get into the play-in, and then who's going to? I have not. I mean, it's a dark just up at the dartboard. Who's going to be the Western Conference? Who's going to emerge and with out of the West? It's going.
Who do you think? Well, I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe there isn't an obvious question. This is actually a tough question. There isn't an obvious answer. Now that I'm thinking about the answer to my own question is, who's the worst team for the Celtics to play in the finals out of this group?
Oh, well, I have to think about that one.
I mean, I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
I think Denver.
Denver, but then the Clippers. That's what my initial reaction is. Like, Denver. Then I go, oh my God, the Clippers are.
The Clippers. You got to respect the Clippers, and now that not it's been true for about 2 months, but once Harden got settled in, and once he figured them out, and they figured him out, and they got now we got something to talk about with them, and but Denver, fear I want to go so far as to say fear the most, and I
well,
think
it's understandable. They've been there,
and I think they're I think they'll approach it. They have the chip on the shoulder complex because they don't think they're being respected at quote the 21st century word respected as the current champion. People are just forgetting who the champion is in their mind. So they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. There's no question.
Well, I mean, SGA is getting all the, he's awesome.
Oh,
but he's entertaining. There's a flamboyancy about him. Where Denver is Denver. There's nothing fancy. So they can use. I mean, I'm teaching some courses. SGA's the man. The kids love him.
Well, he's this. I think if there was a fan plebiscite for the MVP, he'd win.
Oh, he would win.
He'd win, and he's got to get serious consideration. I think in the midst of the obvious big guys. So absolutely no. I'm intrigued by them, and of course, Holmgren, is proving his worth nightly. And also, we've stated previously. I'm happy for the franchise. These people have supported that team very well from day one. Not that they should have that team because they were the beneficiaries of the second biggest screw job in the history of the league.
Right.
Buffalo being the first that they should still have a team, but Seattle got screwed, and but nobody can say Oklahoma City hasn't done right by the franchise.
Well, if I look at it from the Celtics perspective, the Celtics to me have been there, so I like their advantage over Minnesota. I think Oklahoma City would give them a series, but again, the veteran presence. Denver's a problem. The Clippers are a problem. And if somehow, some way, the Suns are healthy and Durant gets into the finals, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know Kevin Durant. Like I don't know him. Like I don't really I know he took some heat from moving teams, but I love him as a player, and I don't want him to go out. I want him to go out on a high note. I mean, he's older. I want Kevin Durant to have a great playoff. I
No,
don't want it to be against the Celtics, but I want him to have a great playoff.
yeah. No, he's to me as a player impossible to dislike because he blends with anybody. He's got such a versatile game, and you don't have any trouble playing with him at all, and he doesn't have any trouble playing with any kind of team. He's got extraordinary skills at 7. Whether he's 6'11" or 7, whatever the hell.
Whatever.
No, he's a terrific player, and he deserves to be appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I think if he had stayed at Golden State, you'd be talking dynasty. But that's whatever. I mean, he wanted to make the move, and when we talk top 5 now, he's fallen out of that discussion. And I would like to see him get back. I'm not talking top 5 of all time. I'm talking like top 5 currently.
Well, he's certainly hanging around.
And I would like to see him, because the thing with Durant, and a lot of these guys are 6'11", 7 feet, whatever now. Everybody's shooting threes. It's positionless basketball. Kevin Durant was a player that when I would watch Bob, I didn't realize he was 7 feet because he moved so well.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. No, he floats around the court and beautifully and
handles.
He do the whole package. And he's not the passer, as the LeBron is or anything like that. But he will pass, he can pass, and he can play, and he can make. When I saw him, I think we may have said this before. When I saw him first, just evaluated him way back coming out of Texas, I said he's a cross between McAdoo and Iceman.
Yeah,
and he had all the varying shot release points that Iceman had, and he had McAdoo's accuracy and more range. McAdoo. Now today McAdoo would have expanded his range. They all would have, but but that's what I thought of, and I'm still going to stick with that. Not so, but
that's
no, he's
great. That's a great analysis, Bob, because now that you mention it, he reminds me of he's a 7-foot Iceman. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, he's a 7-foot Iceman. It's too bad people don't. I mean, that's when I fell in love with the NBA, to go old bastard on a minute. I fell in love with the NBA when Bob McAdoo was with the Braves, and Iceman was with the Spurs. And I just wish people could appreciate what they did. Those guys they could play. They can absolutely play. So I'm glad you brought them up. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move that I can make to take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Now, listen, you're busy building a business. You need the perfect team member to help you do that. It's just like sports. You can be a great coach, but if you don't have the players, if you don't have the chemistry, it's not going to matter. And it takes time to develop this chemistry and find these players. So the heavy lifting, it all goes to LinkedIn Jobs. They'll handle it for you. So you have to have a great team, you have to have a great chemistry, and these are the hiring tools that'll enable you to get that. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, get a load of this number. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. How about that? So achieving your goals in 2024, you got to have the right team to help you do it. It's why small business rates LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats, they might not have time or the resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/scribe. That's linkedin.com/scribe to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Bob, I have an issue now. I think it's time for the coaches to get rid of the sweats. All right. I was watching this last night.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I'm watching, Joe has got like the sweats on, and I know that these aren't like the sweats I go buy at Target. I know they're from Nike or whatever, and if I bought them, they'd probably cost me $500 online. And they fit well, and the coach. When I see Nick Nurse in a sweat, I mean, I swear to God, I just saw him like dying on the treadmill at Longfellow Sports Club, over here in Wayland. I'm like, what's that? I want the suits. I want a Chuck Daly. It's COVID's over, man. Bring back the suits.
I agree. I think it would be a nice idea. I don't like this cash look. I'm thinking about the old days. I'm thinking, of course, Chuck. Gotta tell you this story to people.
Sure.
So the when the Pistons played in the Silver Dome, they had a special promotion night, and they wanted to attract a huge crowd with a promotion, and they had they're going to have 60,000. Okay, so Chuck habitually what he had was he had a pregame outfit and a game outfit. It would change his clothes into his game suit. He forgot his game suit, and guess what night he forgot? The night of the big crowd. He sends Dick Versace, his assistant, home to pick up his game suit. And now Versace is trying to come back to the Dome in the midst of this massive crowd.
Oh, and that's a nightmare. That place.
So he's pulling a French connection, for those of you who know what I mean here,
Popeye.
And he finally gets there. Now, the entrance to the Dome that we would come in, you entered that, there was a hill, and you went down to a recession, and Versace slides down the hill to get around the crowd, holding up the suit so he doesn't get his suit, and delivers the suit to Chuck for his gamer. Now, only Chuck. That was so classically Chuck. But I remember back in the ABA days. It's funny. You always wondered what Larry Brown was going to wear, or what Doug Moe, who would wear overalls. He'd wear overalls at times, and
but at least it was a statement. Like Moe was.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember Moe coaching the Nuggets before. I mean, we've talked about it before he went to Philly and got the hair done and got the suit and all that stuff. But I remember with the Nuggets, it looked like he was going to singles night, at the disco after. He had the chain and the shirt and you could the unbuttoned down here. But he had a thing, he had a style about him, and I just look at the sweatsuits now and I'm like, bring back.
Yeah, I mean, there ought to be a little more dignity to it.
I don't know. I don't.
My big thing with coaches, I said 40 years ago when it was, and they should be made to sit down. Coaches should not be roaming. They should not, in this college, every level, coaches should plant their butts on the bench, get up to call timeout. That's it. And well, forget, that's never going to happen. No, this is just total utter fantasy. But that's my fantasy. Coaches are made to sit down and not for a variety of reasons, but one of them was don't beat referees, but anyway, that's not going to happen. But in my world, when I'm commissioner of sports, coaches or basketball coaches will sit only. They can only rise to call timeout.
Bob, I don't think it helps when they stand up. It doesn't have. What do they do? I mean, they don't. It doesn't matter. Well, I agree with you, but like what?
Well, some of them.
What does it do?
Particularly in college, some of them they roam and they're calling out plays and they're trying to orchestrate every possession. Guys are switch. Don't do this. Don't do that. As somebody who played for a yeller, I played for a yeller, and it's like background music.
Right.
My mother would say, "Oh, he yells," and I'd say, "Ma, I didn't even hear. I didn't pay attention to him. It's his background music,
I mean, 90% of the guys don't run the play they call in the huddle. I mean, like, so, but it's nervous energy. Like Nurse is the worst because I can't. When I was covering it, I was down at the game and I said, Nurse doesn't shut up. I go, I can't. If I'm a fan, I don't want to sit there. And there's no way. Look, I can't argue the guy's success, but there's no way the players hear it. There's no way.
But it's just, I know it's reflex. It's something they do. But absolutely, I can tell you, when you play, listen, you just play, But anyway.
Oh well, Bob. All right, dude. Thank you very much. Bring back the suits.
All right.
All right. Bob Ryan, Jeff Ryan, Gary Tanguay along for the ride. Did I say Jeff Ryan? Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman. Jeff is out sick today. We have been brought to you by the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets. With any winning $5 bet, that's $150 if you win. Bob, see you next time.
Okay, very good.